Okay, so let's see. Day one, we made it up to our cabin about 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. Crashed and burned. Um, got about maybe 4 hours worth of sleep before we got our shuttle and headed up towards Springer Mountain. We were on the trail at the trailhead about 9:30 in the morning Sunday. We made it across Hawk Mountain and made to Hawk Mountain Shelter just fine. As we got to Hawk Mountain itself, the apex, um, it rained, and I never felt so good about the rain. So the rain was fantastic. It felt great. It was kind of like a little reward for having climbed such a harsh mountain. Um, but that was fun. I had enjoyed that tremendously. Um, we My friend and I, after we got to Hawk Mountain Shelter, arrived at the shelter. And the first thing I did was clip off, dropped my bag, and walked away from it. And my friend was just like, "What are you doing? You have to get your camp together." And I was like, "You know what? I'm not worried about putting my tent together." It was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We still had daylight time. I just wanted my pack off, and I just needed to take my feet off the trail. So literally walked right into camp, clip, found a site, dropped my pack, and walked away from it. Oh, it was amazing. Um, so started talking to some people at the shelter and stuff like that. Eventually, after cooking and whatnot, got myself into putting my tent together and whatnot. Um, Burned my hand. Got a second-degree burn first night. Stupid rookie mistake. I had my stove going and I had my ramen inside and it was cooking. It boiled over and I grabbed it with bare hands and wound up with a nasty, nasty burn. This is actually, let's see, that was Sunday, so today is Friday. It was all yellow and it was just bad. Thankfully, it's not infected. I did really well with that, so yay. um, but let's see. So I did really good the first night. It rained about midnight. It just poured. It was amazing. Just poured. Um, so after that, we had you know, gotten up the next day, and we were gonna go and make our way up Sassafras. We got up maybe not even like maybe a tenth of a mile, and my friend's like, "Yeah, no, can't do it. Pack's too heavy." Well, at this point, her pack was about 50 pounds. She was carrying um, her daughter's food as well and some other stuff, and it was just too much for her. She couldn't do it. And I agree, that was a lot of food, a lot of stuff. So yeah. So anyway, so we made it back down the mountain. We caught we hitchhiked. I shouldn't say hitchhiked. We ended up scoring a really cool shuttle um, back to the cabins that we were at, and very, very, very lucky. Our shuttle driver was Sam. Don't give a damn. He was fantastic. He is funny. He has the southern drawl, and he tells dad jokes, and it was great. He was just fantastic. So sweet. Anyway, so we travel. He dropped us off at our cabins. Um, we ended up staying at Misty Mountain Inn, which is by far it is a slice of heaven here. The people who run it are fantastic. I cannot say enough about them. There's just no words to articulate the southern hospitality and the beauty that's here, and just it's Misty Mountain Inn. You can't say that enough. Misty Mountain Inn, fantastic. So we did a 0 day. That would be on a Monday. Did a 0 day on Monday. My friend went ahead and we did a shakedown of her stuff. Took out about 20 pounds. From there, we went ahead and had a good night's rest. We got to High Tower Gap where we stopped first night, after the first day. Got back to High Tower Gap and we started going up Sassafras and whatnot. And yeah, Sassafras and Justice were very challenging. Not gonna lie, it challenging. There's an old saying that says fast fast kicked my ass, and we articulated it differently because the challenges that were unexpectedly coming up on our trip, we actually changed it up to saying that we kicked Sassafras's ass, which worked out, which definitely boosted our self-esteem, saying, yeah, we did it, it's so freaking awesome. I personally danced after I did it. It was like such a cool thing, videotaped and everything. It was cool. Anyway, so we made it past Sassafras, went past Justice, and on the way back to Justice, we were making it up to camp, and we made it to Gooch Gap shelter, and stayed the night. We got there we started about 9 on at Hightower, and ended up after an 8-mile hike. We ended up at 8 o'clock ish, rolling into Gooch Gap shelter. Rained again. Okay, had a good night. I left early, and there, because my friend was going to get off there at Gooch Gap. I wanted to press on. I was feeling pretty good. I had, not gonna lie, I had a couple of hot spots going on. I did tape them up. I did work on them, massaged them, did some foot stuff on them. Being type 2 diabetic, I really needed to take care of my feet, so I really did go the extra mile to make sure my feet were okay. But started incurring a blister on my middle toe on my right foot, and I was feeling a hot spot on the same foot, around the same general area, but on the pad of my foot. So I wasn't feeling all that great, but I was like, I think I can power through this to the next shelter, which is about 9 miles. So I figured leave early, I'd be more than enough time to leave at like 7 to get there by 5, 6 o'clock, and then call it quits and have a really great night to take off my shoes and figure out how things are going. I was doing okay. I'm not gonna say I was doing great. I was doing okay. Made it up to Ramrock, and when I got to Ramrock, it just beautiful. Like, it was the first open view that you see of the AT of all the places that you've been. It's stunning. So, I was taking some pictures, did really well. Was coming down off of Ramrock, and I've been really careful about coming down off going downhill, because downhill is really hard in your knees. So I was being really careful about coming off downhill, and I have my trekking poles with me. I'm going downhill, and I misjudged the shape of a rock, put my foot down on it, and it was the foot that has the blisters, and it busted my foot, like, just ruined it. Like, the rest of my hike for that, it was like another 3 miles that I had to hike, and it was just painful. I cannot express how painful this was. So I figured, okay, well, I will just, nurse myself, get into Woody Gap, because that's where the, Woody Gap would be a good place to hitch a ride. Hobbled, for the most part, to Woody Gap. That took a very long time, because my foot was throbbing. It hurt. I didn't have the blisters lanced at this point, and so yeah, it was very uncomfortable. So okay, well, I read this in other books, other hiking books, and watched other videos, and people have gone through the same thing. I was like, you know what, powered through it, made it to Woody Gap. I managed 5 miles in 6 hours, and I was very disappointed because I still had another 3 hours before I could make it to Lance Creek. So since I just knew I couldn't make it to those next 3 miles, I was almost in tears as it was with pain in my foot. So Woody Gap, I went to try doing a hitch. Woody Gap, now, as much as that is a huge thoroughfare for traffic, shuttles are far and few between. I don't know why, but there are hardly any shuttles. And as far as hitching is concerned, I wanted to make a hitch to Neal. So I was asking people, say, okay, which way is Neal Gap? Make sure I'm on the right side of the road. And they showed me, and said, okay, so I'm, gonna try to get a hitch. And thankfully, a hiker that I had passed earlier was coming back, and he says, "You trying to get a hitch?" I said, yeah. He says, where are you heading? Neil Gap? And just kind of, hemmed and hawed a little bit, and he says, alright, come on, get in. I was like, got a hitch. So threw my stuff in there. I was very, very thankful for it. Had a nice conversation down. He explained to me that hitching from Woody Gap to Neil is far and few between because no one goes to Neil if they're going through Woody Gap. They're going to another town. Honestly, if I could pronounce it, I would. I can't. Starts with a D. But yeah, that he was my trail angel. I was very, very, very happy. Very, very happy. So he sent me down to Neil Gap. I got myself a hostel room over there, and met up with my friend who was already there, and saw my family there. Or at least two of them. The other one was still trying to climb over Blood Mountain, and I was so happy to see them. We pretty much talked throughout the night and went to bed, and since I couldn't do anything, I lanced my blister. Said, okay, gotta take a 0. We came back to the cabin and looked at the following day. It looked good. No infections, great. Then I saw my toe. My toe has a blood blister, and the problem with the blood blister isn't so much that it was a blood blister, it was the fact that I have a callus on my toe, and trying to lance the blister through a callus sucks, because you really have to push it in there, and it just sucks. Anyway, so I got that in there, and all good. So my toe feels better. I was walking around today. My foot hurts. And the big thing is, being diabetic, I really gotta watch my feet. I understand now why people who get on trail after they've lanced a blister start having problems. You need to take care of your feet. They're the ones that are going to get you over those obstacles on the AT. So you do need to take a couple of days off to make sure that your feet are recuperating.